here. We have Fiona Zedde in the green room at the moment, so she will be joining us very shortly. If you are here, give us a like. Let us know where you're watching from. Tonight, I am so excited. Fiona Zedde is here to talk about her amazing book. Let me just bring that up. The Power of Mercy. Yeah, it's not really going to look very good, is it? Okay. Well, I wish I had the paperback. It's hard to get them over in Australia, but we will work with it. So The Power of Mercy, it is an amazing book. And now I'll just go in here and we'll bring Fiona Zedde on.
Hi,
Fiona.
Good night, good evening, good afternoon. I'm here. Oh, and I have a paperback copy.
Yay! Excellent. Oh, wow. That looks so amazing. Oh.
Yes, here we go.
Excellent. That's beautiful. So that's the book we're primarily discussing tonight, but no doubt I'll just be asking you questions about your writing and how life is in this crazy, crazy world.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Fantastic. So like
thank you for having me
I
on, by the way. Thank you for making time out of your schedule and to bring me on to chat about something I love.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. We've been so lucky in this group. The authors that have just been so willing to take the time out and come and talk to us about it. And thank you so much. Like, it's so exciting.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you. I love talking about my work, and it feels like there's so few opportunities that I'm like, yes, I would love to come and spend an hour chatting about whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, yeah, if you are watching, feel free to chuck in any questions, comments. Let us know where you're watching from. And as we go through, I'll keep an eye on the comments and get some questions happening. So while we're waiting for everything to go along, first, Fiona, can you just give us a quick blurb or summary of what The Power of Mercy, the book, is about?
Okay, so The Power of Mercy is a superhero novella, and it's about a woman. She has family issues, issues with her mother, with the whole family, but she sort of like puts that aside so she can find out who she is on the inside, find the strength that she has that her family has denied, and she saves people because she feels like she's had things happen to her in the past and no one has saved her from. So she wants to be that savior that she needed for others. And so she ends up butting up against her family and then this mysterious murderer that's operating in Atlanta. And then the mysterious murderer becomes someone who actually like infiltrates her life a little bit. So, dun da da!
That's brilliant. Oh, it's such a good read. Anyone watching, apologies because I probably will do spoilers. I will try not to do too many of them. But you know when you love a book and you can't help but just rant about it. So I'll try not to spoil you guys, but just a warning, there may be a few little spoilers. But yes. So anyway, sorry.
No, fine. I am excited. I'm happy.
Excellent.
I'm here and I'm writing and no one's ever telling me anything. And I'm like, oh, chatting with someone who read my book. Yes.
Yeah.
So I love it.
This book is actually in a series through Ylva, isn't it?
Yes.
Ylva Publishing. Did they actually approach you, or how did it come about that you got into this series? Was it a book you'd already written, or was it something that you were approached about?
Neither. So I was doing a blog, on Women and Words, and connected a little bit with Andy. Andy said, oh, there's this call for submissions.
Oh, wow.
I can't remember if Andy was like, oh, you should submit, or this exists, or something of that nature. And so I was like, I haven't done a superhero thing before. I would love to see if I can. So I put a proposal together just to see what they would think. And then they said, yeah, sure, do the story, and then we'll go forward. And I was very excited.
That's amazing. I didn't realize it was for a call-up. That is so amazingly cool.
Yes.
That's brilliant. So obviously that's how you got the idea, like, of doing a superheroine kind of story. I absolutely love Mercy. Well, May, is that how you
Mai.
Mai.
That is right.
Okay.
The great thing about reading is like you can pronounce it however you want to. And whenever I meet someone who pronounces either someone's name or even a regular word in a different way, I'm like, they're a reader, and that's all that means, you know. And they've absorbed more than that's in their physical world. They've read and they've enjoyed and they want to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's just so great. Cool. Yeah, because she's such an amazing character. Like, I just loved the dynamic of her. There was this Mai who battled with her family, particularly her mother. The relationship between her and her mother was just so intense, and some of my favorite lines of the book were ones in relation to her interacting with her mum, or even words with her mother. And I was just like, that hit. And it was so incredible. And then you have this powerful side of her who is Mercy. And then this other side of her who's just like, sex is sex, and I will do what I want, because there was a really, really powerful line about how she'd never experienced tenderness. And it was just like, right to the feels, and the writing blew me away.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly. We just have a question here from Beth, and I'll put it up. And she says here, I have never read a superhero book before, and it's not my style of read at all, but I loved this book. Do you write in a variety of genres?
Beth, you're awesome. Thank you. I do. I do. I try to tackle something new every once in a while. So I've done sort of like sweet romance. I've done historical, paranormal. I've done contemporary paranormal, vampires. And of course, I did my whole erotica series, How Sweet It Is. And I'm about to launch a new series that's going to be a small town romance. I don't know when, because I got the idea a few months ago, and I already have a book scheduled for December, but I want to start writing that immediately, but I'm not going to. So I started to tackle like a new subject matter, a new genre, something to challenge myself. I've been writing for ages, it feels like, and it feels good to, even if I don't succeed, to at least try something new every once in a while to liven up the process and the work.
Fantastic. Yeah, this was actually the first book of yours that I'd read, and I went and looked at your other books, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's written everything. This is so exciting. So yeah, no, it's brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. When you're actually writing it, obviously, you know, you had the idea with the superheroine from the call out, but what actually comes first for you with your writing? Even if it's not specifically for this book, do you usually start with a scene or a character, or does the story sort of become the primary focus, I guess, the original focus?
I think I want to say, does it vary? I'm not sure. I think normally it's a character-driven story that I'm attracted to. Usually I think of the person, and then I think of, okay, what's going to happen? And sometimes that's not great, because I have this character that that came to me and is live and fantastic, and then I'm like, now what are they going to do?
Let's really make their life difficult. How can we screw up their lives?
Do things on your own. You know, you're awesome. Go and do stuff. But then I'm like, oh gosh, they're so well-rounded. They're so interesting. And now I'm like, okay, they can go to the mall, maybe, or go to the beach. I don't know.
That's cool. No, absolutely. Your characters were phenomenal. Even, oh my God, I'm so going to say this wrong, even though you actually specifically in the book say how to say it. Shotiel?
Shotiel, yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I was taken by her. She's like this pure ice queen that is just so dynamic, and yeah, it's fabulous. Did you actually have a favorite character in Mercy at all?
Let's see. I was really taken by Xochitl when she first came to me, which is why I ended up writing like a follow up with her as the main character. And so I just didn't know what to do with her, but she just came again. She just came, and she was the actor in the story. Like, she was causing so much mayhem, and also so many marvelous things to happen. You know, so I fell for her a lot, and it happens to me a lot where I would write a book and then a secondary character comes up and they're so, in my mind, like larger than life, that I end up writing a second book about them.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yes. This would actually possibly go into Beth. Beth, you're awesome. Beth's got another question, and I'll just put it up. So which book of yours would you recommend I read next? I'm thinking the sequel.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, there you go. I love his mercy. And then she's also said, and please tell us more about the small town romance one. Obviously, you can recommend any other book, but I just thought that's perfect timing.
Well, okay, so it depends entirely. It depends entirely because my How Sweet It Is series is mostly erotica. It's erotic romance. So the romance and the story arcs are way more important. But then, you know, it has more than like one or two sex scenes. So you'll definitely be swept into the bedroom with the lovers, you know? And so if you're not into erotica as much, then I'd recommend, well, that's erotic too, actually. My first book list. My first book list is like, you know, where it all started. And so I think a lot of my longtime readers, like, that's their favorite book. So yeah. And then if you're into reading May December stories with women who are over 40, 50 plus, then I have my Hungry for It, which is in the How Sweet series. And she falls in love with someone who's in her 20s. So there's that. But Bliss and the How Sweet series.
Excellent. Yeah, I think Beth's a little excited because she didn't know there was a sequel. So I think yep, she's good.
Hold on one moment. Let me get something
going. Show us more of your books.
Yes, hold on. I have a comic book, the graphic novel. And it has the same exact cover, but it's got, you know, all that's going on. So,
that's beautiful. Who did the artwork?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay, cool. Brilliant. That's fine.
No idea. None. But I love it though. It was part of a Kickstarter campaign about maybe 2 years ago, maybe a little bit less. And there was a Funko Pop attached to the campaign and all this, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed that. Ilva was so supportive, and they just jumped right into the whole project with both feet, their whole body. Just boom.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love hearing this. Like, we have such a beautiful community, and it's just so cool to hear about it and see how we all rally, and we want the books, we want the stories.
Yeah, it was such an awesome experience. Like, you know, seeing people who they were contributing, they were asking questions, they were invested in emotionally as well. And like, we want to see this story in this format. This is so great. So everybody who supported us was like, oh my God, it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And Ilva's been just like, wow, a dream to work with.
Oh, that's so cool. There's so many, like, and have you actually been able to connect with any of the other Ilva authors since you've been working with them. That's so cool.
Yes.
This community is just fantastic, isn't it?
Absolutely. They're all super helpful and share resources, and they're like, and they would say, "Oh, your book is so great." And I'm like, "Oh, your book is so awesome too. What's going on here?"
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, wow. All right.
The small town thing.
Yes, sorry.
No, I forgot too. I got caught up. But the small town romance series, it's actually set in a small town in Spain where I'm living right now. And most of them, I think, at this point, they start in the US and they move to the small town and have to, the whole culture shock thing and interacting with residents and all this stuff. So I have this idea based on something I've read in the news recently. So I'm hoping that I don't want to be too cryptic, but I want to give it all either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I love traveling, and I think, and I like reading and writing about the process of, leaving a familiar area and then going somewhere where you're like a fish out of water, and then adapting or not, and what that feels like. You know what I mean?
Ooh, so yeah, absolutely.
So
no plans of writing the pandemic in any of the stories?
At this point, no. I think,
that's great.
For me, it might be too soon. I think I was trying to write my escape from the pandemic at this moment. I'm just like, oh, I wish I could travel. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. And like, I feel like I didn't want to have my characters deal with the same things that I'm dealing with. This feels too cruel.
Oh, no, absolutely. Like that's one of the best things about reading. It's that escapism and everything else.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited about the sequel as well. I'm just like, yay, more of them. It's so great. In it, there's such a strong theme about just making it on your own as well. Like pulling yourself up despite all obstacles that could come in your way. Was that an intentional thing, or just something that kind of brought with you, sort of thing?
It was not intentional at all. I think, like I said before, that she came to me as this character, and then she had her struggles from the very beginning. And at first, I was a little worried because the things that she is dealing with in her book are so they're not beautiful things. You know what I mean? It's strong and it's hard, and so I was a little bit sort of reluctant because it's not escaping that way. That's like, oh, we're going to go to this really happy land and we're going to talk about like roasting things over campfires and all that. So I was a little reluctant to do it, but she pushed forward. Like that was her story that she lived and that she wanted, and so she basically just appeared, and then her story came. Like I had no idea. I didn't even think about themes. I didn't think about like the overarching story. It was like, okay, I'm dealing with these things, and this is my way of getting through and getting over. And so my books normally just like the themes come at the end, and then I go back and sort of like refine them through the story.
Yep. Well, they're so organic, and you can feel that when you read it. And like I messaged you, and I was like, it's so dirty and gritty and raw and beautiful, all wrapped up together. Like your way with words make such harsh things almost beautiful. And it's that extreme view that makes like these beautiful words show just how harsh and bitter and the power of just everything she's had to deal with. Just it shows it so much stronger. And yeah, it was just that's pretty much how I see it. It's this dirty, gritty beauty, and I just I was blown away by the book. So anyone watching, if you haven't read the book, it's just over 100 pages. Is that right? 100 or so pages.
Yeah, it's actually a novella, really. So just if you're looking at like how they are, you can see how tiny it is compared to the sequel.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is absolutely worth it. Like it's it's not a long read. Go read it, people. It's just so powerful. Beth has another question, totally off topic, and I love her for it. So here we go. You're living in Spain. What has you in Spain?
I am, and I initially came here to learn more of the language because I had maybe like, I want to say 5% of the language. I had always loved Spanish, and so I came here a few years ago wanting to immerse myself in the culture and in the language. I was going to go to Mexico, and then a friend of mine was here, and they said, "Oh, come here and stay in our spare bedroom, and then see if you like it, and then if not, then I'll see you in the US."
Oh, you gotta love that.
So initially it was just that. Wanting to experience a new culture, of course, but also wanting to get my Spanish better. But now I'm here with love. Now I lived here, but instead of just visiting, so I'm here in a relationship.
Oh, yay. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so I love, even with the pandemic happening and no one can go anywhere, yeah. I'm still enjoying here.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, pardon me.
That's fine. Take care of you. Drink water.
Yes, yes. I've got my water here too. I remember feeling in this book, so anyone who's read it or not, about halfway through, I remember feeling really anxious because it almost felt like May would have to end up being the one who rises above at the end, who, has to say, oh, it's fine, and placate all these people that have traumatized her, who have, just broken her and tried over and over and over again to break her. And I remember feeling anxious, going, no, please don't do this, because there's so much more to her. And I love that. Yeah, totally spoiling the ending, but it's not that. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but she remains strong, and she doesn't have to bow down to anything. And it was such a nice, refreshing ending to this kind of book, because, to be honest, I get really sick of reading a lot of these hero and heroine books, and in the end they have to, take the high road. And it's like, no, the people who are assholes really should have to deal with the fact that they don't get to ride on the coattails of this person. And was there any flashback or anything like that in relation to that?
I don't think so. Let me try to remember, what all it was like so long ago. Not really. I think most of the feedback I've gotten so far that I'm trying to remember is they were just, I remember one in particular, one woman was saying that, it was interesting, and it was also good and sort of unusual in a way to see this someone recover from trauma, especially trauma inflicted by family.
Yes.
And then in the end, it wasn't about preserving the family unit instead of preserving themselves. You know what I mean? And they were saying they appreciated that the trauma that people experience in real life was there on the page, but they also appreciated that family can be the source of many hurts, and that preserving family is not something you need to do in order to heal yourself. And so that's the most powerful thing that I've heard recently from the arc of the story.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's I loved that element, that she didn't just, she realized she had to take care of herself.
Yes.
She, that was the most important thing. Like, she was no good to anybody if she wasn't going to take care of herself and find her strength a way. And despite of all of this, all of, you know, these expectations, especially of the family, like, it was such this strong, and it was such a, you know, even though it's set in, you know, it's speculative fiction, it's such a strong thing in our society and so many people's lives. They can relate to this whole idea that their family has to, you know, be the most important thing, when often it can be detrimental to the individual.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
exactly.
that was beautiful. And I can't see who it is, but someone is very excited. We're very excited about you being in Spain. So whereabouts in Spain are you? If you don't mind answering.
I don't mind at all. Yeah, like I'm in Madrid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So did you have a lot of that culture shock that you're wanting to focus on that small village?
Kind of. More so before when I got here in 2017, right? Yeah. In the last year and a half, of course, I've gone like nowhere.
Yeah, of course.
But I arrived in 2017. I've been back a couple of times. I've only been here full time since January 2021, after all the visa stuff was sorted out.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I would be coming, I came, you know, for 3 months at a time, and, you know, did the whole, I was being very legal. And yeah, I experienced, you know, all the things of when I first got here and having very little Spanish and being just sort of trying to, you know, do the most basic things like order bread or go to the grocery store and just not knowing how to ask for certain things, or being nervous, or not even knowing how to count the money or say the currency, you know, because that's my worst thing right now, like trying to figure out how to say like numbers, especially like long ones. I'm like, what's 185? I'm like,
yeah.
So I definitely have experienced that whole culture shock thing, and, you know, all of the things, whether it's around language or race or sexuality, or even just, you know, navigating day-to-day things. But yeah, I hope to put a lot of that into the short story, or the small town series I'll be working on, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. But that's not currently what you're working on?
No. I feel like I'm always working on like something and then it appears like 20 years later. Right now, let's see. It seems to take a long time for anything to really materialize. I have my schedule in front of me right here. So what am I working on? I'm working on a novella called Goddesses in Love that should be coming out in August in a collection called and then I'm working on Stud Like Her, which is the sequel to Femme Like Her that came out this past December. And then I'm working on Replay, which is a sort of like, it's a novella, a travel novella that came out under another one of my writing names a few years ago. So I'm revamping it and adding some chapters.
Cool. Wow. So you work on more than one project at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes some of them are just, they get stuck. And so instead of just like not working that day, I'll move on to something else. Wow.
That just blows me away. And do you plot or pantser it, or do you kind of sit somewhere in the middle?
I should plot because it makes so much more sense, and it makes a story go by so much faster. When you have a big plot, you're like, yes, and my next chapter is blah, blah. But I like to keep myself excited. And so if I don't know what's happening, I stay excited or frustrated, either one. So I sometimes plot, but then I leave it open for the characters to do something else. But yeah, I should plot more so I can write faster, but I don't.
No, we all know we should, but if it doesn't work for you, then in the end, it's not gonna translate well on the page.
Yeah, so. I think, but I know what my fatal flaw with certain books is like I tend to end them too quickly. Like I'm like, oh my God, I've written like 80,000 words and I only have another, 10 or 20 more to go. I just, get this story to a certain point, and then I end up sort of like jumping the gun or like skipping a whole section of sort of like wind down. It's like all of a sudden, okay, they're happy, it's over, And plotting saves me that drama, saves me that anxiety and that flaw. So
true.
I mean, I should. It's really, really useful. But I'm just like, I want to be excited about the work always,
Yeah,
so it's
understood.
Yeah.
It's a hard balance, absolutely.
It is.
We have some more questions. All right, here we are. Okay, so Mai was quite powerless, weak in her family, but still wanted to help others. Was this aspect of the book inspired by anything or anyone in particular?
Not really. The way Mai came to me as a character and as her particular personal struggle, that was it. Like she's what's going on with my hair? Forget that. So anyway, ignore that. So yeah, she came to me with this, this big thing in her life. And so, I feel like a lot of us, and maybe it's from conversations I've had in the past with friends who've had their own struggles of feeling weak and wishing not to be that hammer that pounds someone else into the dirt, but to be that help that they wish that they had. And I feel like that influenced me as I was sort of bringing Mai to life more than anything. But I think too, like we've all been in a situation in our lives where we just felt helpless and we felt weakened, where we felt like, oh, I wish I could do something for myself. And then, see, maybe even as someone who's older, seeing someone who's younger dealing with the same things that you dealt with as, coming out, or as a teenager, or as someone in their early 20s, and wanting to sort of guide them through what you've already been through, And I feel like those things influenced me and I think it influences most of us, really. And
I think that's why she was so incredible, and we could, everyone could relate to her, because she did experience maybe not that situation, but those feelings, those emotions, those dynamics. It was so universal that you couldn't help but feel
that's awesome
the way she was, what she was going through. Awesome. We also have another question. I'm not sure why we can't see who it is, so I'm sorry that I can't actually call out the actual name of the person, but here
mysterious Facebook user.
Yeah. Sometimes StreamYard just gets a bit silly with permissions of who will allow. So anyway, sorry, the question is, have you got any favorite lesfic tropes? Have you been taking part in Jay's Sapphic Reading Challenge? And have any favorite reads, listens this year?
Yes, I do love some tropes. Like, it's interesting because the tropes that I love to read are not the ones I love to write.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wish I could be that writer who's just like, oh wow, I love this. What was it that I saw recently? It was a paranormal and it was about angels, and I really loved the story. The name of the story is escaping me. Someone probably knows it. It was great.
Aurora's Angel.
Yeah.
Aurora's Angel?
Yes. I really like that book.
It was so amazing. I loved
that.
I just read it. Right? Yeah, it was just brilliant.
Yes.
A shapeshifter book that
had surprises and
love. Yeah.
Right. It was awesome. It was awesome. So I love shifters. I love angels. I love the whole, all of that. But yeah, I haven't dived in. I want to at some point do something like maybe werewolves or whatever. But yeah, I love reading that. I love reading that. And I also love Ice Queens, but I don't even know, Lee does great Ice Queens.
She does, doesn't she?
Yes, right? So I'm not sure if I could ever really do that successfully, or I'm not even sure if I've done it. I like the idea.
Oh, I don't know. Shochia was pretty awesome with her Ice Queenness. She had Ice Queen quality written all over her. So yeah, Don't
Okay.
underestimate your power of the Ice Queen.
Yay. So what are my favorite ones to write? Like I'm trying to like go through. I love the May December kind of things, the older woman, younger, but I like it when like the older woman is more sort of like naive or
that twists that
yeah,
age gap.
yeah.
Cool.
For me, it makes it less creepy. You know what I mean? Like the older woman is more like, I don't know what to do with these lesbian cards, you know? And the younger woman is like, let me show you, baby. Like, I love that dynamic a lot.
Yeah. Any recommendations with that?
I mean, I was thinking specifically of my book, Hungry for It, where it is like the older woman is a divorcee. And she has grown children. And one of them is actually the best friend of her lover. And so there's that like tension and, it's like, I have this, husband in the past and he was a crap guy. And, now I'm having these feelings for women. It's so confusing, blah, blah. Yep. Maybe it's just you, blah. So I love that dynamic, that trope a lot. Like it'll probably pop up more than what's healthy in my other work, but that's one of my favorite ones to write. And let me see what else. I just did something. It wasn't super tropey. I like second chances a lot. I love second chance romance.
Cool.
Yeah, I think those two are my fave right now to write. Oh. But I love paranormal. Like I am just absorbing all of that right now. Like give it to me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Love the paranormal. All right. So, what in your life affects your writing in a surprising way?
In a surprising way. Let's see. I think my divorce, like it's really random, but yeah, like I divorced ages ago, and that relationship was ages ago. But I feel like whenever I write something, even now, I'm still sort of like leeching emotions from all of what happened, with all of that. Like I'm like, oh, I'm not over that yet, or oh yeah, that did happen, or that was a teachable, setup, or you know what I mean? Like, so
yeah, absolutely. You take from your own life and use those experiences to really enrich in your writing.
Yeah, hopefully it's enriching and not like embittering, but yeah, so that's still like feeding a lot of my writing. Yeah.
And I just realized we kind of missed over Facebook users' question. Are you doing the Sapphic reading challenge at all?
I absolutely am. So let's see. I think already 2 or 3 of my books have already come up. This week it's this week it's my vampire novel that's
awesome.
And what is it? Reading a genre that you don't normally read. And yeah, so my vampire novel, Every Dark Desire, is has come up then. And then I had my over 40 character was Hungry for It in a few weeks before. And then something else popped up. I can't remember. But my new book that's going to be coming out in June, July. I'm like, what month? It's House of Agnes.
Okay.
And that's going to be, what category is that going to be? Because it's about a New York madam, who is not who she seems. And there's some gunplay in it and a bit of a mystery.
Cool.
But it's, overall it's a romance, but it's like Jane Bond light, maybe, I don't know.
Oh, are you actually? Yeah. Are you actually reading for the challenge at all? Like, are you getting?
I'm not doing the. I think some days I feel like I don't have time to read.
Yeah.
So I've read so many. I like the recommendations, and so I would just like pluck one out. I'm not like officially like ticking things off on any sort of list. But when something pops up, like, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. Like I know when the X ingredient came up, and I don't think it's in. It may be in the challenge, but that's on my list for sure. The Roslyn Sinclair, yeah. And I saw my list and I'm like, it's gonna be so spicy. I'm so excited. So yeah, like I'm not officially doing it, but I'm taking notes of all the books that are popping up.
Yeah, there's so many. It's so great having so many options.
Exactly. All these different publishing companies too, because I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't read anything from Bella Books in a while, so this is perfect.
Yeah, it's so great discovering all the new authors and all these tropes and genres I didn't even realize I have or haven't been reading.
Yes.
It's just such a fantastic adventure, basically.
Yeah. It is. And for me, like I know that as a creator as well, because I have readers talk to me all the time about, okay, it's so hard to find books with women with characters who are, you know, have agency and are having a fun sex life over 50, you know, and so it's cool to be able to like, oh yeah, that's a book that has these types of characters or these sorts of dynamics. And you know, even while they exist, it's like there should be more, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
so many of us are focused on like this tiny age range, you know, for reading and writing.
Yeah, it's frustrating at times. Yeah, absolutely. This has been amazing. I'm just quickly checking to see if there's any other questions that we've missed. I'm going to add down all the comments later, but where can people find you if they want to find more of your books or more about you? Where's the best place that people can actually find you?
The best place is on my website, which is FionaZedde.com. And yeah, and if you Google me, my Wikipedia page pops up and it feeds, you know, all of the things, like all of the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I have a Pinterest, but nothing really goes on over there. I'm like, they're cute, but I don't know. I never knew how to navigate Pinterest at all. I'm like,
I'm so glad I go there and I go, I don't understand how people, what do we do here? So yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, Lee Winter seems to be a master of the Pinterest. I'm like, wow. Like I think each book has a Pinterest over there and all of that. And I'm like, that's a great idea. And then I go on there myself and I'm like, how do I begin?
Yeah. It's a bit like that, isn't it?
It's like another one to learn, you know what I mean?
Yep. Cool. So best way to find you is just on your FionaZedde.com.
On my website, FionaZedde.com. And it's over there you can find pretty much everything and anything. And it's FionaZedde.com.
Excellent. That's so great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It has been so good. Sorry,
Thank you for having me over here. I am going to go make lunch shortly in my afternoon.
And I'm going to go to bed. Time zones. They're so much fun.
Yes. That's the way to put it. They're so fun. Like, what time is it? When is it happening?
Yeah, that's been the biggest challenge with getting things sorted for the book club. It's just the time zones, because you never I didn't know you were in Spain either until we started chatting, and I was like, oh crap, what time zone's that? So yeah, so thank you so much.
It's been challenging, but you know, for the most part, it's been totally fine. I've done a couple of things in the US for Eastern time zone and all that. So yeah, and now Australia is great.
Yeah, it's great to be able to connect to all the different places and not have the limitation of only, you know, local sort of thing. So there's been positives come out of all of this.
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for all of this. And I cannot wait to read more of your books.
Yay, thank you. And thank you for choosing Mercy for this chat. It was just a nice surprise to get your email. It's like, oh my God, someone's reading my books. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, because it is a fantastic book. Like I said, anyone who hasn't read it, if I tried really hard not to spoil too much. So if you haven't read it, go read it. It's so worth it. It's a quick read. It's dirty and gritty and just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I will see you all later. Thank you again, Fiona.
Thank you. Thank you for making this so awesome and so fun.